Hi, welcome back to Live and Breathe Horses, and from an old master trainer to young trainers with Maestro Nuno Oliveira. So today we're on chapter 14, which is about the mouth of the horse, the jaw and the tongue. So this is a subject which fascinates me, and it really reflects the human, the state of our jaw. So this is something I really work a lot with my students because I find it is transformative to our horses. So let's see what Nuno has to say. The mouth of the horse is one of the most sensitive parts of his body. Nowadays, the rider believes that the horse is trained only by the engagement of the hindquarters and that this is sufficient to have a good mouth. Of course, we must engage the hindquarters with clever gymnastic exercises. And by the use of these exercises, we must activate the hindquarters. But at the same time, we must understand how the mouth moves and functions. We must look at the thickness and length of the bars of the mouth, whether they are bony or have plenty of flesh on the gums. To look at the width and the depth of the mouth so you can choose the most suitable bit. Actually, the fashion is to put the German noseband very tight, and before observing how the mouth moves, this is an error. So this is a thing, you know, with the tightening the noseband, you don't give the horse the opportunity to express, and then you can't get the feedback from that information to make it better, more comfortable for him. It's also something I was taught as a kid, you know, you should get 2 fingers between the noseband and the nose. But anyway, that's a whole other subject. So, well, it is, but it's very related to this as well. As with humans, there are some horses which are talkative and some which are mute. We must know how many times we must let the horse chatter as he becomes progressively more attentive. That when, by the cadence, by the impulsion, he stops chattering and gives himself in a calm manner so that the different movements we ask of him. But if we forbid him from chattering, which of course we can by tightening the noseband, but what happens? The horse contracts himself throughout the whole of his head, and the horse does not relax in the parotoid. The muscles of the neck become rigid, and the horse becomes rigid in all of his body by a general contraction of the muscles. And now, here is what all the ignorant riders say. At least he is round. With the mute horse, if we work him in silence, we arrive with the same result. Why is the horse mute? Because he's in contraction. With a mute horse, we must provoke with clever gymnastics which decontract the jaw. It could be if the horse is more often in a double bridle, and then you move the points of contact in the mouth, or even you can ask flexions of the mouth in work in hand. For the experienced equerries, the spur has a lot to say, but only for the experienced trainers. The horse, when he is collected and his weight is more on the hindquarters, he must deglutinate the bit, that is, not chew but savour the bit. This comes by clever and delicate action of the rider on the bit. When we ask him more extended gaits and less sitting on the hindquarters, the mouth must stay gentle and more quiet, so less mobile the more he's flowing forward and the less we're collecting. That's the reason why many riders have difficulties in the piaffe and the pirouette, because the mouth is tightened and the jaw contracted and therefore resisting. Of course, the horse stiffening in his jaw cannot put his weight on his hindquarters, but with force he does it by crushing his hindquarters and so preventing the hindquarters from flexing as they would if he were light in the mouth. Do not forget that there is a relationship between all the muscles in the whole body of the horse. So when must we begin to use a double bridle is a question that many riders often ask. Here again, there is no one system. There are some horses who will arrive at the top level still only using a single or snaffle bridle. Some others need a double bridle earlier than this. A simple snaffle can be a very hard bit when the horse is fighting against it, and a double bridle can be very soft if it's used with an experienced hand and the horse gives under the action of that experienced hand. The hand which is not experienced but only good is very often wrong, and with sensations of untrue lightness. Those untrue sensations come from the tongue that is not quiet in its place and comes up. Sometimes it's like a ball, sometimes coming over the bit. In most cases, exercises chosen with wisdom and an experienced hand can resolve the problem. But with some horses which have a mania of moving the tongue, we must choose a bit with a space for room for the tongue, convenient for the horse's mouth. In this case, if the horse opens his mouth a lot, then the noseband, slightly more tightened, can be useful. There will be some times until the horse becomes calm in the mouth, and then we can go back to a normal bit and loosen again the noseband. This is what observing and learning on the back of horses during more than 50 years has taught me. Training a horse is not only having a horse with his head placed and quiet, doing the movements asked by the rider, but it is, above all, a supple body, which gives you lovely sensations without effort. Especially, we must not forget that the mouth of the horse is placed, as is his brain, in his head. So yeah, that's a lovely way to finish that. And I think it's just such a good point. You know, this is stuff that we don't often see looked at so much in modern equitation. You know, when I worked for Miguel, he placed huge importance on this mobility of the jaw. And I've seen this over and over again. You know, when the horse is tight in the jaw, and the noseband's tight so he can't protest and you might even miss it, he becomes tight in his whole body, and then nothing's going to be healthy, good for the body or have flow. And it's very often reflected in the rider, you know, when their jaw's tight and tense, and then the horse does the same thing. And they can end up having problems in their back, you know, when it's tight and rigid and we sit on it. And then the tendency is that people get back experts in or body workers in. And actually, that is just a symptom of the real problem, which is coming from the jaw. So it really is a very important subject, something I'm very passionate about, and I'm actually including a big part of my new online course is all about that, about the softness in the rider's body and the relaxation of the jaw and keeping that flow in us so that we're not passing our tension onto our horses. So thank you for being with me today. Keep tuning into the light, and I look forward to see you next time.